I want to first thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for carrying me through the darkest year of my life. I don't cry that much because I be fighting too much, so I'm sorry. Thank you for allowing me to stand here today. It is only through His strength, His mercy, and His unfailing love that I am able to stand here and speak on behalf of my daughter, Janita Vance, and honor her name. And I just want to thank you all so much for being here with me and my family today. Today we're standing in a place that holds weight, not because of what it is, but because of why we're here. We're here because Janita is no longer with us, and she should be. Janita was killed August 16, 2024, by someone wearing a badge, a person in a position of public trust who, in my view, should have protected her life. While there is still so much more we are fighting to uncover and understand, one thing remains clear to me: what happened to Janita was not justice. Just weeks before her death on July 22nd, 2024, Janita was arriving home from work when she was ambushed by armed individuals who opened fire on her in front of her home while she was in her work van. She survived that attack, but it left her shaken and deeply afraid for her life. Sorry. She filed a police report.
Take your time.
Please understand that we're going to get through this moment as long as it takes us. We're going to get through this moment, y'all. Please. This is what it looks like to be a grieving mother. This is what it looks like when justice is unjust.
So she was shot while she was in she was shot at while she was in her work van. She survived that attack, but it left her shaken and deeply afraid for her life. She filed a police report with North County Cooperative Police Department, who is part of Wellston's Police Department. And according to their report, the responding officer stated that Janita showed footage of both males in front of her house, and that both males had handguns. The officer also stated that he canvassed the area for clues aiding in the investigation, but none were located. The officer stated that he went to a home address that was provided by Janita of the suspects, but he did not make contact with anyone there. And although I have camera footage of the officer taking a picture of that bullet hole in Janita's work van, that was not mentioned in the report that he put together. The report also stated that he spoke with the main attacker's parole officer, which means he's a felon with a gun, but that my daughter would not tell him where she got the attacker's name from. It further states that Janita would not assist him in the investigation, and therefore the investigation was closed. I believe a bullet hole in a vehicle and an alleged suspect on parole with a firearm is a substantial amount of evidence to issue a 1099, particularly when visual evidence has been shown to law enforcement. Instead of receiving help and assurance, I feel that Janita was diminished and unfairly characterized in this report. Moving forward to St. Louis City. On department-issued video footage, the story begins on the streets of a residential neighborhood. Two officers speeding at a high rate, but chasing no one. Block after block after block after block, until they pulled alongside Janita's work van, parked neatly on Iowa near the alley facing the park. And that would be right around this corner. If you see that alley, she was parked right there, to your right. The official story claimed she was exiting her vehicle when they arrived, but the footage shows something different. the police footage that I apparently cannot show to the public. But the footage shows something very different. Janita was not getting out of any vehicle. She was already at the corner of Iowa and Gasconade, right here, when they pulled where her van was around this corner at the alley. So the news report says that she was exiting. She was not exiting. She was out of the vehicle. And she was casually walking when Officer 1 pulled up to the corner right here. Firearm already in hand before he exited the vehicle. Janita was walking away this direction. And when the officer exited the vehicle, she was right here where I'm standing. Officer 1 immediately shouted, "Get on the ground, get on the ground," and began to fire shots. Janita did not have a chance to even respond. As he's firing shots at her, she looks over her left shoulder, never turning to face them, just literally looking over her left shoulder as she's hearing the gunshots. Janita was a licensed gun owner in an open carry state. She had a firearm in her left hand at the time of this incident. The footage shows her raising that hand in a barrage of bullets, and a single gunshot was heard. And instantly, Officer 2 fired 2 rounds towards her. She drops the gun, throws her hands up, then quickly they fall down to her side because she's literally like jerking like a rag doll. Officer 1 is still emptying that first magazine at her, which I counted 17 rounds. Officer 2 is yelling, "Stop, stop, stop, stop." But as soon as the first magazine was empty, Officer 1, he began to reload. And he's continuing to fire. Janita is unarmed during this incident. She begins to hop towards the curb, and the shots follow her. She falls to the ground, and her back is still to the officer. So right here where I'm standing, she's on the ground with her back to the officers. Help me, Jesus. As she's on the ground, the officer is still shooting at her. He's literally walking up to her, pumping bullets in her from behind. As she's on the ground, 7 more bullets is still hitting her motionless body. I see her back jump, and then I see her right leg go up. I want y'all to understand that I was told that my daughter committed suicide. That's what the news reported. And that's the narrative that's still out there. So I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Okay, so during this second round of shots, because I have multiple footage. So during the second round of shots, on Officer 2's footage, he's yelling at his partner once again. I won't say his name, but he said, I'll just say officer. He said, "Officer, back off. Officer, back off. Officer, back off." And it wasn't until the 12th shot that he backed off. By then, Janita was motionless. And yet, motionless with all of these bullets flying at her. To this day, I don't know how many was in her. I only know that 12 was in her legs because I was able to see her raw body at the funeral home. It was important for me, the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but it was important because they told me my daughter committed suicide, which I knew was untrue. But instead of offering aid, this officer, he moves in with his body on her and he handcuffs her aggressively. The statement released by St. Louis City Police Lieutenant Bachstruck was told to the public that officers gave a command, Janita failed to comply, shots were fired, and that she then shot herself, which this was repeated on all the local news, 2, 4, 5, 11, 30, everybody. But the footage tells a story that the public was never told. So to this day, I have been denied access to my daughter's autopsy unless I agree to basically a gag order. And I refuse to let anyone, as an American citizen, take my First Amendment right away. That means that I still don't know how many bullets struck her or which one ended her life on August 16, 2024. I just want to say this. I'm not against law enforcement. I want everybody to understand that. I have friends and I have family members that's, law enforcement. So we need the police, in my opinion. We need the police. So what I don't know is why Officer 2 fired 2 shots. But I will say this, that his repeated calls to stop definitely showed more restraint than Officer 1. And I truly thank him for that. He obviously saw something wrong. August 16, 2024, Janita's 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendments were violated as an American citizen. This is why we demand accountability, and this is why we demand transparency. Because without it, the truth dies, just like my daughter did, under a rain of bullets that never should have happened. Janita was not just my daughter, she was a sister. She was an aunt to 2 beautiful little girls, Jamila and Azalea, whose tiny little faces she couldn't wait to see in December 2024. She had dreams of going back to college, becoming an engineer, and as she would always say with a big smile, she wanted to do things bigger than Elon Musk. We would laugh about that often, but I knew she meant every word. Janita was just 26 years young. She was outspoken. Everybody that knows her knows she was very outspoken. She was a soul who loved deeply, laughed loudly, and mattered more than words can hold. And no matter how hard anyone may try to bury her truth, they cannot bury who she was or the depth of the love that I carry for her. There are no words big enough to contain the pain my family holds, but I don't stand here asking for pity. Please understand that. I stand here asking for change. I stand here so that no other mother, father, or any family is forced to feel what we have now have to live with for the rest of our lives. And I have to say this from my heart. I need to say this, that I do not wish any harm or ill will towards the officers involved. My heart is heavy, but it is not filled with hate. I seek truth and accountability, not only for my family, but for this entire community that has been told a lie. I want to thank the officers who do protect and serve with compassion, integrity, and a desire to build relationships that last. We need more officers like that, the ones who walk with the community, not against it. I grew up in Wellston all my life, and back then our community was close-knit. We knew our neighbors, we looked out for one another, we trusted the officers because they knew us, they knew our families. They walked the streets, and families were greeted by name. And it made us feel safe. And that's the unity I still believe in. That's the kind of community I want to see again. One where family is valued and protected. This day, August 16th, it belongs to Janita Nichola Vance, my only daughter. I stand here only by the strength of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who is carrying me through a storm that I never asked for, giving me peace that passes all understanding. I press on because he pressed on. I have cried out and I have been broken, but I am not defeated. But we are here for Janita, and we will not stop until justice meets her name. And part of justice is truth. So today I call for an independent investigation into Janita's death, public release of the body cam footage, and all police reports without condition. Legislative reform to address excessive force, police accountability, and mental health protocols. A federal review into the use of deadly force by St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. My biggest thing is, I want to say in the end that if Janita did something wrong, that Janita should not be in the grave, sharing the grave with my mother. Janita should be, if she did something wrong, in St. Louis City Jail or St. Louis County Jail. And I also want to add to that, in this open investigation, I have not heard anything from bail found neighbors. So when I tell you all that I really don't have any information, I don't have any information other than my daughter did not commit suicide, but that I have her death certificate and it says homicide, multiple gunshot wounds.